Alrighty, welcome back to the Natty News Daily podcast. I'm here, James and myself. I am fresh off my Boston trip or big event this past weekend. I was there at WNBF Worlds, so figured we just run through it and talk about it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
so
seems to be
James,
the
you
thing to
you
do,
were
right?
watching
Like
on the
that's
stream, and then I was there. So
yeah.
um,
Attempted to watch on the stream, right? There was a lot of technical difficulties through the first half of the day. But got to see a lot of the later stuff, which was good. Good for
yeah, I heard
sure.
it was a little spotty throughout with the stream, but.
Yeah.
I think you did catch the most of the men's bodybuilding, which
Caught most
we're
of men's
personally
bodybuilding.
biased towards, right?
Well, obviously, yeah, like people call us out on not covering the women's side of the sport enough, but it's tough, right? Like when we're so invested in the men's sport, being competitors ourselves. I had a client in women's bodybuilding, Sarah, so I was very invested in trying to watch that. Unfortunately, that was one of the classes that was very, very spotty, so I was relying on you and some others there to get me some photos and placements and things like that. But yeah. It was a good day overall. I was excited with some of the results. So yeah.
Yeah, it was a really good event. The women's bodybuilding, I have a little bit more of an affinity towards being one of the more muscular categories and such. It's judged basically identically to men's, and I thought that was super interesting class too. So lots of cool stuff I think we can discuss. I'm gonna pull up the Natty News Daily Instagram page. That way, just kind of not frame our discussion, but organize our discussion a little bit, and then we'll just chat.
hmm
I have lots of thoughts. So
Yeah, and for those listening and watching this while Dan's pulling that up, feel free to let us know in the comments, like, did you agree with some of the placements? Do you agree with our opinions as we go across today? Like, I think this one's a little bit more of an unstructured podcast, just kind of us debating, discussing, and just in general being excited about the sport because I think it was a pretty exceptional weekend when it comes to like the talent that was on stage.
I'd say so. All right. Let me know if you can see that.
I'm good to go now.
Cool, cool. All right. Let's see right around where we can start. Let's start here with amateur champion.
Mhm.
Won the overall on Saturday in the men's bodybuilding. This is Hugo.
Yeah,
Did you know?
he's got a really nice flow to his physique. That's the thing that I noticed the most. Like super round delts, good taper, like more classical style posing, which was interesting because the last male that we saw do this was actually Dirk. It was a very different physique, right? But you can see
Yeah.
sometimes it's who shows up on stage, right? Very, very different. You can't even really compare their physiques, Dirk with this guy, but both were in the same place as like the amateur winner, turn pro. Um, but I really, like I said, I do like the lines on his physique a lot.
I
Obviously,
thought he
very,
won on
very lean.
condition. And look at
Yeah,
this.
I was gonna say like very, very lean. As soon as he
He
turned
was
around,
one of the
glutes
most
and
conditioned
hams.
guys on both days because he made his pro debut the next day.
Mhm.
I think conditioning is what sealed the deal for him because he beat
Yeah,
some guys that were actually more heavily muscled than him, potentially better shape, better structure, but condition wise, he was like, far and away the
yeah, that
best.
that
So
shot right there is pretty impressive.
yeah, I mean
So,
that. Look at that. His glutes and hamstrings were absolutely stripped.
but not to knock his shape, like even that right there, right?
No, he
I
sounded
think
like he
that's a
had bad
really,
shape
really
too,
strong pose for him in that vacuum pose.
for sure.
So that
But
goes to
yeah,
show like the level of the amateurs, right? Like at this show, there's no slouches. You can see the guys on either side of him in that lineup are also incredibly impressive, right? It's kind of the best of the best for sure.
well, this is pros
Or was
actually,
that the
but
pro? Yeah.
that's pros.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean he's standing out in a pro lineup or looking good in a pro lineup, so he was certainly ready to make that jump.
hmm
So let's talk. We talk a little bit women's bodybuilding.
hmm So
So this was a real like, what's the word? I don't want to say shocker, but more so just shocked and like, holy crap, this
like
girl's
like
good.
where'd she come from kind of deal,
Where
right?
does she
Kind of
come
out of
from?
nowhere. I mean, look at those legs.
The
Like
legs are
it doesn't male
ridiculous.
male or female, those legs are stupid. just crazy conditioning, great size. Yeah.
You should have seen the condition, the lower body from the back too, the condition and the muscularity through the glutes and hamstrings.
Well,
Probably
the
the most stripped out glutes I've ever seen in women's
yeah.
bodybuilding.
WNBF posted like one of the professional photos or maybe even a professional reel day of her and it showed from behind and I think it might have
This,
even been
yeah,
this
this
one.
one,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I had to like check my feed and see if I was watching an NPC competitor, right? Because that's crazy conditioning and crazy density. Normally it's one or the other, especially on the female side, right? You have a lot of mass, but not overly conditioned, or you're like really, really shredded, but you're kind of on the smaller side. I mean,
Yeah.
she just has crazy shape, crazy density everywhere.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, she showed up in amateurs and dominated. And yeah, we
And
can get
pretty well
into
dominated the pros the next day as well, right? Took out two prior world champions to claim her own championship.
yeah, she double dipped like Natalie did last year, but she beat Natalie too.
Yeah.
So yeah, she back to back days just, you know, stood out in obviously in the amateur lineup, but then, took it to the pro stage the next day. Um
And from what I hear, a great like person backstage as well, chatting with a couple of the athletes that were there. She said like super friendly, super outgoing, like a great representative for the sport. So you always love to hear that as well, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, so we can watch some of the posts down.
I'm gonna say there
Um
you can even see her with Natalie. Yep.
yeah, yeah. So you could just see the quality of the women's bodybuilding. Um, here's
And
a
you
girl
just
that
love to see that
took
many women's bodybuilders on stage as well.
took second, who actually looked very, very good. Um,
Hmm.
complete, and posed very well. Her posing set her out.
You
I
think
think
so?
it,
The
it
second
allowed her
place
to take
individual.
second.
You think so?
Yes,
So there's a couple
absolutely.
photos. Maybe it's just very specific shots. Because again, I'm only going off of photos that were sent to me. I think her front relaxed. And then we're talking about the second place individual now, whose name is escaping me right now, but I know
She's
she's
from
from
the
the
UK.
UK. Yeah. Her front relax really struggled to kind of flare her lats.
Zoe.
Like she lost a lot in that pose specifically. But again, like conditioning is crazy, right? You can see even just like in the thumbnail here from the side, like look how shredded out her arm is and her glutes are there, right? So incredible athlete for sure.
Yeah,
I
she
just felt
was
like,
really complete, really conditioned, but I would say there were some gaps in some posing for most of the class.
yeah,
Just like on miscellaneous poses, like their side tricep, I don't like how their side chest, but she was on every single pose, and I
okay.
think I think that alone bumped her probably a couple placings.
I think
Um,
that definitely helped her. And I also think not to criticize Natalie, because I know she's been through like a marathon prep as well this year. I think her conditioning wasn't as intense as it was last year, at least from what I was seeing. And again, different lighting, stream, photos, you were there in person. Would you agree with that? Do you think Natalie was as lean this year as prior?
um, I wasn't there. I saw her in person. Natalie was very good in person.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know that her conditioning was any better last year. I thought she was maybe a little bit last year, but I think I think she just had a lot more competitors alongside her that brought really good conditioning. Like Zoe brought really good conditioning. Amora brought very good conditioning, or like excellent,
Yeah,
excellent
like that's not
conditioning.
even very good. That's exceptional.
Like they brought exceptional, like she brought exceptional conditioning. Zoe brought very, very good conditioning. So I think the women's, just the ladies in general, were sharper this year than last year, I would say. So I
Okay.
don't I don't know that it was necessarily Natalie was much softer or less sharp than last year. I think just, you know, her competition what was
Yeah.
sharper than last
Yeah.
year.
To give her
So
credit though too, and we noticed this that Mr. A, I feel like Natalie has definitely improved in her posing, which was one of the big
yeah,
criticisms
definitely.
from last year. So it's good to see that, a prior champion is still working to refine her craft and improve, even if the placings don't show that she's improving. Like she certainly is working on some of those weak points.
And let me see if I can pull up any photos of Natalie from. Uh, I don't know if she's seen any photos of her. Maybe
Doesn't look like
tagged.
anything.
Just a photo with me. Yeah.
Yeah, just that one.
Oh, there, but doesn't show her on stage. But she looked very good, and her conditioning was good. And yeah, her posing has definitely improved since
Yeah.
last year. So
Yeah, so that those women bodybuilders, that was fun to see, right? And I have a
very
couple that I coach, and it's always a struggle of even just finding them people to compete against, and especially the amateur ones, like where are you even going to turn pro? So to see that many, I mean, how many was it? It was 11, I think, maybe total for the class.
something like that. Um, and let's pull up your client then too. Um,
Yeah.
Sarah. I was like, what's her
Well,
Instagram? Wazoo.
yeah. So she brought me in, I think like 3 or 4 weeks out. So I just kind of closed things out for her.
Oh, that's actually good. Good. We actually got
There
a
we go. So you got Natalie, you got the actual champ, and then you got Sarah right there. So I mean, Sarah has a stupid amount of muscle mass, just absolutely
she was
ridiculous.
the up top, she was the most muscular and biggest on stage. Like
Hmm.
hands down. Like lat width, delts, just
Hmm.
up
Yeah,
up top. Lower body, she was mm, I'd say neck and neck.
yeah,
But upper body, she was by far the most muscular.
yeah.
So
She's got great
really
symmetry
impressive
too. We
in
really
the
worked her posing because that was one thing we really wanted to work and refine on. Her conditioning, right? Like again, I only had her for the last 4 weeks. We did what we could do with what we
yeah.
had. But I think not bad at all. Like her big concern coming in, and she won't mind me sharing it because it's kind of like knowledge within the circuit that she's always struggled with. It was a little bit of like core control, holding weight through the core, and you can see the photos there. Like came in actually pretty tight. So I was very excited.
Yeah.
She said herself her best look yet. So we'll be excited to see what a year off season will do for her.
Yeah, you can
But you
see,
can
and
see
then from the
there,
back, extremely muscular too, just
yeah.
in general.
So
But you
right,
can
like
see the what she was up against. I mean, you know, all the girls in the top three above her all had strided glutes.
yeah.
You know,
But right, like you compare
or
silhouettes
Zoe
there.
and then
You strip
Natalie.
off and strip off an extra 5 to 10 pounds there, and she's not getting out muscled, that's for sure. She's not getting out posed. Her symmetry is great. So I mean, and she's a multi-time top five at Worlds, second place, third
There's the
place,
full top
fifth
four
place.
there,
So yeah,
and you can
well
see
deserved.
strided glutes, and then Natalie's not quite sucking in, but
Yeah, just a
those are
little
the two
in
most
between
conditioned
pose.
Zoe and more. But yeah, really great lineup, and you can see. I mean, look at Zoe there. Ridiculous.
And there's your fourth place athlete there on the left in the red suit as well.
Did she take fourth or
Yep.
was
Yep.
Natalie? I think Natalie was fourth.
I could be
She
wrong
might
there,
have been
but yeah,
fifth. I thought Natalie was fourth.
she was in the top fifth. No, so Sarah was fifth.
Or Sarah was fifth. Sarah was fifth. She took fourth.
Yeah.
That's right.
And
That's right.
Natalie
That's right.
third,
Because yeah,
Zoe in
she
second.
Sarah got top five, but she was fifth. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Very
But yeah,
good.
very very exciting to see, right? And that's hopefully continues to inspire like the younger generation. I think people like Natalie and people like Liz are doing well. And I don't know how, the winner there, more, I don't know what her age is, but seemingly, younger, not, I don't think as young as Natalie and Liz, but individuals like that, hopefully inspiring younger generations to take up the more muscular female divisions.
Yeah, I think we're seeing a rise of women's bodybuilding, which is great to see because turnouts have been it's been the last 5 years, hit or miss, and but to see that standard come up, I think is awesome. So
Yeah. And it's not like there's not women within the sport, right? Because we saw this year,
yeah,
Yorton Cup, 70 bikini athletes, 70 bikini pros, right? So the women are there. It's just what division are they going to?
where are they
Why
competing?
is that? Can we incentivize some to want to go towards figure, your fit bodies, your physiques, your bodybuilding, right? And kind of step out of the bikini heels. Not that there's anything wrong with those divisions, but I think us as like a little bit of bodybuilding purists want to see what can the natural body be taken to the extreme? What can that look like on
Yeah,
both sides, male and female?
I agree.
And these are certainly the extremes. Some of these
Yeah,
physiques are impressive,
like so we have a bias towards the the traditional categories.
which we are well aware of. And for the viewers that want to criticize for it, like we do our best, but it's hard, right? Like when we're so enthusiastic about one specific subset, but we try our best to cover all the different classes, all the different, like everything. We're just there's a lot of athletes, there's a lot of classes. I mean, and for our like US based listeners, check out the number of classes offered in the ICN, right? Like if we tried to even cover those, I think they have like 18 different categories and it goes across the board of everything. So, we even saw that with the PNBA, the men's athletic. That was a division that we'd never even heard of, bodybuilding with a weight cap, right? Pending your height. So, yeah, interesting. So all I'm saying is we do our best, and we're just three people that work full-time jobs and do this for free. So,
Yeah.
where we got next? Where you want to go?
Uh, let's see. Do you want to go into the men's bodybuilding and the pro?
Lean into the bias. Let's do it.
Let's lean into bias. Okay, where to start? Where to start? Let's start with the lightweight class, the lightweight A. So they had four weight classes. They had a ton of competitors. I think I don't know the exact number, but I was about 15 or so per class. With four classes, two lightweight classes, a middleweight, and a heavyweight. Um, so this was your lightweight A class, which I think was the more competitive of the two, but um, both were very competitive, very deep lineups. Um, so we've got our I believe this was our top five here.
Mhm.
Um, so you've got your defending champion Dirk and Zevin, um, who were in the middle the whole time. Um,
Mhm.
those were pretty clearly the top two. Um, and I can say tell you what I saw, but what did you see? Who did you think took this from watching the stream?
I mean, it's always tough to root against a reigning champ. You
Yep.
almost have to like it's the same thing with like with Phil Heath when he was winning. It was like somebody has to really come in and just be exceptional, or the reigning champ has to come in off. I don't feel like Dirk came in off, but I mean, just you look at this photo, the difference in structure makes a crazy difference here, right? Like, so Zevin, how small his waist is and how wide his clavicle is, just gives him such a impressive profile. Not that Dirk's isn't, but I think most people would agree that Dirk has a little bit of a wider waist and has always just had like the nuttiest density and conditioning, and that's what's carried him really, really far. I
Yeah,
mean,
and you could see it. You could
the
see it in the
quads
front
there,
relaxed with Zevin.
right? And yet you start to
But
see here a little bit, right? How like some of the width that Zevin gets across the top line,
yeah,
how narrow
it
his waist is there, right? Like
crazy quads
it's
too.
yeah. There's small differences. Like you put any one of these individuals in this photo at all separately on Instagram, and you're like, holy crap, that person's gonna win. And then you throw them in, and that's when some of the slight flaws start to show up just a little bit.
So you personally thought you thought Dirk would win.
Um, I don't know if I thought he would, but I kind of wanted him to, right? Like I wanted to
I'm not,
continue to root
give
for
me your
him.
honest feedback because I have thoughts on that.
I will say that I didn't get to watch the entirety of the judging, but from what
Did
I
you
did,
watch the end?
I did not watch the end. I was watching the beginning of it, and then kind of
You watched the beginning. Okay,
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
actually
Okay, so yeah, hit me with it. What did you see
so
differently?
so
What was
actually
happening there?
I at the beginning of the round I thought I walked in um and or I'm trying to think if I walked, but I think I might have gone for the
Were you
bathroom and
flying?
then came back and then I think I was walking in and I immediately noticed seven. They were in the front relax. I immediately noticed seven. It was the very beginning of the posing round. And they took them through like
Yeah.
long rounds, right? Um, but um, so I kind of at the front end had seven. I was like, okay, like overall, like they were going shot for shot, trading shots back and forth, but they spent a lot of time in the side or the that front relax, which makes I think is the most impactful pose on stage. And Zevin looked really crazy on the front end. That said, as the rounds progressed, I don't think Zevin changed much, but Dirk got way harder, like way harder as the rounds progressed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because by the end of the posing, end of the rounds, um, I actually was looking at him like I actually think Dirk might be winning the front relax now. Like
Hmm.
he looked just way fuller, way harder, just bigger in the just throughout, just everywhere as the round progressed. Which I know I've heard people say a lot in general, like, oh yeah, he got better as they posed, but
Hmm.
Dirk definitely got better as the round progressed.
Okay.
Uh, so by the end, I actually thought Dirk might win. But like I said, he got better as the posing round progressed. So I would
Hmm.
be curious what the scores were from the judges kind of on the front end versus the back end.
Hmm.
Not that they score it that way, but what kind of the tentative thoughts were. But
Yeah.
um,
Hmm.
yeah, I
And that's why they spend so much time up there, right? Because when you have such competitive athletes, it's so close that you almost want to work them until they break, like until someone
yeah.
does something wrong, and then it's like, gotcha, that was it, right? Because we could. There's so many impressive features about these guys where I think Berto said it the best. Like it's who can hide their flaws the best rather than like who's got good features because they all have good features.
See, I don't even think that's it. I think because I think both guys held it together throughout the round. But I think just Dirk just got harder. I think
Yeah.
because I don't
Well,
think Zevin I don't
you
think
and
Zevin or many other guys really faded or
mhm,
or got lazy or sloppy with their posing. I think some others in some other categories started losing their ability to hold their air in their chest and pose big. But in this lightweight category, I don't think that actually was the case. I
yeah.
don't, like I said, I don't think Zevin faded, which I think allowed him to win in
Mhm, yeah.
spoiler. Zevin edged Dirk. Zevin did beat Dirk, and I think
Yeah.
it is, I guess, to that note, his ability to hold tight while Dirk got
While Dirk was
better,
getting better. Yeah, yeah,
was
yeah.
getting better, and just bigger, harder,
Mhm,
um, made a difference. But this is a really good class, so I
yeah.
think it was a really tight battle. And I should note that Grant looked very good, took third in that class.
Mhm.
Um,
Good to see Leo up there mixing it with the
yeah,
young
I was
guns,
really happy
right?
for Leo to mix it up and make that top five. I
Hmm.
was really happy. Obviously, we were friends with Leo. We know Leo and
Hmm.
have a good relationship with
Yeah,
Leo. But
good guy. Been in the sport for a bit.
and that's
Um,
yeah, like when he
and,
took top five, I'm like, I'm really happy for him because
yeah,
that was tough top five to crack. That lightweight
absolutely.
class was stacked.
And just
But
as a little note, like this is on the posing. This is like I wouldn't call it a pet peeve of mine, but like something I notice and something I try and do myself. Look at the difference in the class most muscular. You could say Zevin versus Dirk because we've been comparing them. Zevin already has a little bit of more width to him, but I feel like the difference of going like knuckle to knuckle versus palm to palm can make a dramatic impact on someone's physique. I love going that like knuckle to knuckle because it gives a little bit more width through the shoulders and the arms and creates that
yeah,
slightly more aesthetic line, in my opinion. Where when you start to get like too tight, like the tendency is, and you can see that I'm blanking on the name again, but the individual to Dirk's right, because he's going like palm to palm with that pose, is starting to round his shoulders forward and collapse his chest and lose that width.
yeah, little things make a difference because it's a game of centimeters and millimeters a lot of
Well, and
times.
it's all illusions too, right? Like, can I make myself appear bigger? So if it's something as simple as just moving your
Yeah,
wrist in a different way, and now all of a sudden you have the appearance of gaining 2 to 3 inches across your width, may as well do it, right?
yeah,
But it doesn't always work with everybody. I think there are some individuals that do look really solid in a slightly different pose.
yeah, for sure. But yeah, anyways, good on Zevin for Edge and Dirk looked, like I said, looked spectacular. I think that was Dirk's best look. So Zevin taking that lightweight A title. So let's go to let's pull up if I can find some photos. I know I have a pose down. Let's just look at the pose down video of the lightweight A class.
You said massive class.
Very big class. Like you can see that here. Danny taking that class. I know I interviewed him the day before. He
Hmm.
competed last year, had a little bit of unfinished business from last year after taking, I believe, third in the lightweights last year. Um, and
Steve
see
right on the
Steve
end
there.
there. Yeah. I think we saw was Toby on the left side of the stage there, another Canadian, right?
Yeah, Toby was in this class as well.
Mhm.
So a very big class, very big class. Um, a lot of muscle, great condition. Leo Silva, who I thought looked very good. I
Mhm.
don't remember what he placed. He might have cracked the top five.
We got
Um,
Kent right there.
Next to him,
Kent
that's
and Michael
Serge
Pucci.
Whiteman too.
Yeah.
I think he took second or
A lot
third.
of names, a lot of people that we follow, a lot of friends of the page for sure, all on stage together, which is it's nice to see. I'm sure you had like a blast of a weekend just kind of actually meeting all these individuals,
Oh, it was
having
amazing,
conversations
man.
with them. I
We
had
should have
some
started with
fun.
that conversation because it was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, we'll finish up with it for sure. I was very jealous the dinner photo. It was what you with I think Steve,
Steve and Mike
Berto,
and
yeah,
Berto,
Mike
yeah,
Pucci,
yeah.
yeah. And I saw other photos of like the other individuals that weren't even at your booth that was there. I was like, man, what I would give to just like sit there.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because previously it was Dirk was there, Tal was there, Mike Pucci was there. Yeah, yeah. It was a good time. Berto
Yeah.
stayed for both rounds.
Oh yeah, meeting of the minds.
Yes, it was
But
awesome.
yeah, so I mean that those classes, lightweight. Let's talk about this, right?
Let's see.
It seems to be growing in the
Let's go
number
with
of
Danny.
competitors and seems to be getting consistently more competitive. Not to say that the heavyweights and the middleweights weren't super competitive at this show, but do you feel like you walk up to a regional show or a local show? Would you agree that the lightweights are likely the most competitive class nowadays, at least in the WNBF?
Um, in the amateurs, yes. And the pros, I thought. Let's try to right click. I have a single mouse here. Um, I thought the most competitive classes were the lightweight A and the middleweight,
What just
personally.
mean like even in general
In
across
terms of
seeing the shows
depth,
this year?
yeah, I mean amateur shows, I think the lighter classes tend to be the most competitive classes, personally. In the pros, I think that switches because there's guys that are legitimately in heavier classes and in condition. So I think there's a little bit of a conditioning bias. Like there's just more conditioned guys in lighter classes and amateur. I mean, in both amateurs and pros in the lighter classes. Because if you diet off another 5 pounds, you're lighter, more conditioned, right? But in amateurs, I think the lighter classes definitely tend to be more competitive, but it's a little more balanced in the pros, and that's why you see it's hard for lightweight guys to win titles, win the overalls.
Yeah, for sure.
But which why don't we just progress into the slightly heavier class? But that was Danny,
Hmm.
who won lightweight B, so really good for Danny there. And then middleweights. Holy crap.
Hmm.
This one. Well, let's look at this one first. This is your top three. These guys were good.
And it's just crazy to me to think like that
Ridiculous.
this is middleweight, right? You look at those individuals and you're thinking like heavyweight, super heavyweight, if that's even possible
Yeah.
as a natural. Like they just look so big.
These three, like, yeah, it
Do you
was.
have, I don't think we posted it, the rear double of Oscar and Babacar. That is going to go down in history as like one of the more iconic photos. I
I
don't
don't
know
know
if
if I
we've
saw. I
even
saw
posted it.
I saw the photo of them. This one.
Yeah, and that's a fantastic shot for both of them as well.
Yeah.
It's
I
it's
mean,
just so hard to like how do you match up against someone like Babacar though? Like because Oscar is just ridiculously big,
Oscar's ridiculously
ridiculously
muscular.
muscled. Like he is so impressive, but it's that extra little bit of
I know.
structural advantage that Babacar has just
I
takes it.
think I think Oscar. I thought about it. I think he's I what I would call the modern Doug Miller.
I could get behind that. Yeah,
Like
very similar
massive, just
structure. Yeah.
huge, like massive arms, just really packed with muscle. Not like a crazy structure, but just just absolutely just packed to the gills with muscle everywhere, especially through the arms and the shoulders and everywhere too. But um, yeah, very much reminds me of a an up and coming Doug Miller.
Yeah, I could certainly see that, right? And you can see here too, like conditioning pretty darn similar across both of these individuals here.
Babacar was a little sharper,
Okay.
but Oscar was in very good shape though. This is definitely Oscar's best shape because this is Oscar the Professor, as most
Yeah.
know him on Instagram, where
TH3_professor.
the
Yeah.
Professor. Um, but this was definitely his best look ever. Um, he took the Brian DaCosta beat him at last year, not at Worlds, but at the Monster Mash. And
Yeah.
he's always been not quite there condition wise. He'd been in good condition, but this is definitely his best condition for sure. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, Babacar was, I think, my opinion, on another level. Although some people did have Oscar winning that I was talking to in the crowd did have Oscar winning. But I
Let's scroll through
personally
some of
had
the other
Babacar.
photos here. Let's let the viewers, if they haven't watched the photos, kind of take a little comparison here.
All right, let's see. Where's the heavies? So that's your top four. Nathan's off to the right. Nathan, who took third, Nathan Wallace. Okay, so there's your top four there.
Yeah, so I think I'd seen a close-up professional shot of that. I mean, the density through Oscar's lower lats, that's crazy.
Just yeah, yeah, and his arms are just out of this
Yeah,
world.
his
They're
triceps look
outrageous.
like they're Photoshopped, like someone just
They're
took it, drug
outrageous.
it down, you know? Yeah, it's crazy. I could see an
Yeah,
argument just from these three photos. Like, I could see an argument for Oscar, you know?
yeah. There's definitely arguments to be made for Oscar. Um, and then Nathan looked spectacular. In the front shots, he was structurally like he's about just as big as some of those other guys. But on like this one, this shot here, Babacar in that hands class most muscular, he hit that a few times just throughout the round in the overall and in the pose down. Dude, it was just like that doesn't even make sense. Doesn't
Yeah.
even make sense. Like ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's his arms look massive in that pose, right?
He's just
Everything looks massive in that pose.
everything, literally
You
top
can't
to
pick apart a
top to
weakness.
bottom.
Yeah.
Just so good.
Like what would you even dock him for? There's nothing that you could
Literally
even
nothing.
tell. Yeah.
Just structurally big, muscularly big, hitting the pose well, condition, like quad sweep, everything. Just ridiculous. Ridiculous. Yeah, that was the heavies. So, or sorry, the
The middle.
middleweights.
Yeah.
Here's another Babacar with Sal, who won the universe. I competed against Sal at the universe, won
Mhm.
the universe, took fourth. But yeah, you can see just spectacular. And then see if we can find photo of the heavies. Yeah. All right, let's go to the heavies now before we go to the overall. So heavies, a little bit of a shake up here. Had a lot of really strong competitors here. Let's just go left, right. Bada, who has won Worlds two or three times.
Two, I believe.
Two.
I could be wrong, but he's also won. I mean, he's won USBF championships. He's won
Yeah, he's
IPE
won a lot of
worlds.
world
Like
titles.
he's won a lot of big names. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but he's won this title several times.
yeah, at least two, if not
At least
three.
twice. Yeah. You got Ben Lloyd, who's coming off a Natural Olympia win.
hmm And that's not the greatest photo of him there, right? Like if you're
No,
thinking,
no.
go look up his profile when he's like truly set into his pose. Very, very impressive, very
Very
muscular.
sharp, very sharp. Sam Hartman,
hmm
who newcomer to the bodybuilding space.
hmm
Um, Huge, super tall, packed with muscle. Incredible poser, incredible poser.
Yeah.
The way he hits, and we'll show the overall pose down, which went viral with him. But
Mhm.
um,
I love the comment here too
incredible
on
poser.
the right, the middle one. I don't think he is natural. Of all people, it's like
Yeah,
that's
it's got a
we could
dandruff.
spend a whole episode talking about that, right? Someone's got to comment on every single one of our posts.
Yeah. Well, if you're good in natural bodybuilding, you're gonna get that comment. So,
Mhm.
and then you got Ramon,
Mhm.
um, who had I know a rough trip coming in, but fortunately was able to make it there. So cracked that top five. Looks spectacular, and he's done very well this season. And then I know it's Sagara Power Building is the so you got
Yeah.
tag show
And I would
Sagara
love to know
to
the
who is
difference.
it?
That's a crazy photo that he had pinned right there.
Yeah, let's take a quick look at
I
that.
would
Just
love to know the
that's wild.
difference in weight. And I think this is where like Instagram doesn't really show, right? Because if you put up an Instagram photo of this guy, like that photo looks sick. Like I could see, yeah, he's obviously a heavyweight. But then you show like Babacar as well. Like you're going to instinctively think that Babacar's a heavyweight. But the height difference is massive between these guys,
Yeah,
right? That's why these guys are so heavy is you can't tell how tall these guys are just looking at this photo because they're all tall. But you throw Babacar in there, which we'll see in the overall, and there's just a
yeah.
massive height difference between some of these guys for sure, which makes the weight that Babacar has actually all that much more impressive, I think.
Oh yeah. But yeah, so this a very good heavyweight class. The Frenchman ended up taking it, the young buck, Sam Hartman.
Yeah. I mean, beautiful flow to his physique. I
I
think
think
he
he his nickname is the Golden Child, which
makes
based
sense.
on how he poses, I have no problem with that name and
Yeah.
how good he is. Which let's just go to the
What do we know
overall.
about his competitive history?
Um, I know he's, French competed in Europe a good bit. He's competed at WNBF Germany. He's competed against. I think he competed at Walhalla, who I think Julian Brewski beat him at
Mhm.
Walhalla. I think he took second there, which is another topic. If Julian would have done Worlds, where would he have mixed
Mhm.
in? Because
Yeah.
he beat Sam, who won the heavyweight class. How would he have looked next to Bada or Babacar? Um, but yeah, I think I mean I know he's competed at more shows than that, but that's the shows I know he's competed, but he's French.
Mhm.
So let's
Okay.
go on to the overall here, which this clip went kind of viral. So your four winners, Danny, Babacar, Sam Hartman, Zevin, and like I said, let's just talk because I talked how good of a poser, classic poser that Sam Hartman is. He loves hitting those classic shots.
Yeah.
And just is really good at presenting his physique. Just really, really good flow, beautiful frame, beautiful structure, crazy muscular, big. I don't think it would be I don't think he would have I mean, it's not easy, but I don't think he would have a hard time getting an IFBB Classic Physique Pro card.
No, not at
I
all.
think he could get it pretty, I don't want to say handedly, but with the way he presents himself and what he's got, tools he's got. But this
But
pose
then
down
again,
was
you compare, right? Like he's got a lot of great things going for him, but you stand right next to Babacar and you still like manage
yeah.
to look small, even though you're like a massive human being.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I had Babacar in this um, overall, hands down. Obviously, this is just a pose down. That this doesn't count, but so much muscle on this stage. But your four
Yeah,
winners are just really good, really good.
and a showman as well.
Yes, yeah, yeah. They had a blast up there. But this was, yeah, that was insane to watch that.
So for those
Uh,
listening, we're watching the overall right now, which is on the Natty News page right after the Ben Lloyd post. I would encourage you to go watch that one, which it seems like a lot of people have. Because what were the views on that one, Dan? You looked at it, it was like 16,000 views or something, which is awesome to
16?
see.
No, it was over 100,000.
Oh, really? Maybe I was thinking of another post. Over
No,
100,000
no, it
views?
was like 115 or 120. Let me see what it is now.
Jeez.
That was, let's
For
see.
getting a one in
I
there.
can give you the
116 maybe.
100 right as of 2:49 p.m. on what is it, Wednesday.
Wednesday the 27th.
Today, 27th, it's at 124,000 views.
That's awesome, right? And people want to talk about is natural
It's a
bodybuilding
record for Natty News,
dead?
so.
Nobody
Woo.
cares about natural bodybuilding.
But yeah, I
Over
mean,
100,000 people do for sure, right? So I'd love to see that in itself. And that's one page, right? Like we're one small page. So yeah, I mean the demographic that this sport reaches is massive, absolutely massive. And I don't think the structure of the sport really captures on that to its fullest extent. I honestly could see natural bodybuilding being bigger than the enhanced side in the coming years. And I think a lot of people are starting to see that. And I think in some countries it already might be.
demand's there. People love natural bodybuilding.
Hmm.
Oh, they just need to keep
Keep
plugging
doing what
along,
you're
and these
doing.
athletes and do their thing, put them in good light, and
Hmm.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
but
Love
anyways, we'll finish this up because I know we've been talking men's open for about 30 minutes here.
it.
So your overall winner, unsurprising, Babacar. I mean, again, this shot's just
Mhm.
ridiculous, ridiculous.
Yeah. Prior
Yeah,
change returning to the WNBF after some time away. Um, Love to see it. Love to see him returning to like
yeah,
the tested federations as well. So,
yeah. And I think this is his best look too. Like, his best ever, and he did not win it easily either, too. I mean, I thought he was the winner. I didn't, I had him winning, but like I said, there were people that had Oscar thought Oscar might edge him. So he did not have an easy time. So, the standard in natural bodybuilding is, pretty
continues to
high right
evolve,
now.
that's for sure.
But a deserving winner in my eyes, and just looked ridiculous. I mean, seeing him in person, um, yeah, just insane. I'm still debating in my mind which was crazier to see in person, him or Mishak at Mr. America.
Mm. Yeah.
Babacar might, I think Babacar might take it for me. I think this might
Okay.
have edged even
Yeah.
close, very close.
Similar heights, right?
I think Mishak might be a little shorter,
Okay.
but
Hmm.
um,
Both obviously very, very impressive to see.
yeah,
I haven't seen Babacar in person yet, but I can only imagine seeing the
I
photos.
would I would recommend it if you ever get the chance. So,
Mhm.
alrighty, let's talk through some of these other categories here. So, let's talk fit body. Sophie taking
Mhm.
the fit body title in the pro class. We saw her in Denmark, so got to
Mhm.
see a good bit of her. Um,
Yeah.
did a bit of
Um,
crossing over categories in Denmark and in general, but fit body is where she competes at in the WNBF,
mhm.
and looked fantastic in that category.
Yeah. Yeah. And just, well posed, very graceful. Just really good overall look, honestly.
So I'll take a quick peek at her real quick. And Sophie competes across multiple organizations.
Mhm. How'd she do with the Natural Olympia there? What was that one?
She won Physique Pro
Okay. Yeah. So there you go.
and
Big,
Figure
big
Pro.
season for sure.
Yeah, so she's had a really good season, competing lots of different places, a lot of great stages, really
Mhm.
spectacular. Yeah, really good athlete. She competes well in a lot of categories too. And is able to present herself well in a lot of categories. But fits really well in the fit body at in the WNBF. So congratulations to Sophie. Really, really cool person too. Got to meet her in Denmark, like I said.
And there's a lot of pride in that Danish natural bodybuilding scene right now, which was
Yep.
fun to see in person. So yeah, it's good to see them kind of stepping onto the bigger stages as, a smaller country in general, and claiming some of these large titles and making a name for themselves.
All right, so let's talk figure. This is a bit of let's give me a mix up here, or not a or a mix up. Yeah, a little bit of a
Shake up.
A shake-up. Shake-up, that's the word I was looking for.
Hmm?
Um, Maddie and Courtney have been 1 and 2 here. Mr. America Courtney edged her.
Yep.
Not the case at Worlds, though.
Right.
Uh, did you get to catch any of the figure?
I did not get to catch figure. Obviously, saw it Mr. America. Both incredibly impressive physiques.
Yes.
Both incredibly well conditioned, well posed. I mean, they're both top tier pros, right? They're both champions in title, but also in the way they carry themselves and the way that they like have built their physiques. So, yeah, I mean, any given day, any one of these athletes could win a big title. Just depends on who the judges like a little bit more, I guess. I don't know. I would love to see this is one where I would love to see the scorecard and just see how close it actually was.
I think it
For
was very close.
yeah, I would agree.
Maddie was super full up top, like super full, blasting full,
Mhm.
crazy round delts and back and just big back, just that X frame that top line width.
Yeah, you can see the
But yeah,
photo like
it was
the second row to the right, just how full her delts are in that one.
this one here or this one here.
Yeah, right there.
That was last year.
Oh, okay, okay.
But
Oh,
she's
still
very
very
muscular
impressive.
up top, but she looked really full
Mhm.
at Worlds.
Well, you would almost have to be right because we both know like Courtney's frame is built for that sport, right? She's very, very wide. So
Yeah,
you have to come in full because if you don't, you're just not going to match.
but I think that actually I think Maddie won up top. Um, in my opinion. Let me find a let's see if I can find a comparison photo of the two of them. Let's see how big Courtney is though.
Mhm. Yeah.
But Courtney, I think, had bigger legs and bigger, especially from the back, and but
Mhm.
also from the front too. So it was I would like to see the scorecards too because
Did you have Maddie edging out Courtney or did you have Courtney?
I personally had Courtney, but it was close. Like I said, I think Courtney edged her in the lower body, and then Maddie edged her up top. So it was kind of like, what do you go for?
Yeah. And both have been competing frequently
Oh,
this entire year. Both have won big titles or placed really well in big shows. So, it's not like anyone was coming in rusty, right? They're
no,
both
both
at the
season.
peak
Yeah,
almost, you
I've
know?
been, yeah. I think they both came in very, very good. But yeah, like I said, I personally had Courtney, but I was like not surprised that Maddie won. I
Mhm.
kind of was because she got beat Miss America, but
Yeah.
in terms of
Surprised,
actually
but
seeing him
you could see
next,
how an argument could be made for sure.
yes. All right,
Nice. So we
let's
got
cover
physique and bikini.
men's physique.
Hmm.
Got your winner from Australia here, Hitor, bringing that chiseled midsection,
I was gonna
super
say just
round,
super full through the chest and the shoulders and arms, like
which they really
vascularity
like.
showing through like crazy. Has the iconic, the symmetry in the abs. That's one that if you have it, you have it. If you don't, you don't. And like look how,
Yeah.
how deep and symmetrical those are.
So this was at Worlds too.
Hmm.
Side stage,
Hmm.
Rice. Yeah, that's yeah, really huge men's physique turnout. I think there were three three classes that were like I think they might have been over 15. They might have been 15, 17 maybe even. There were at least 15 though in that class. Huge turnout for men's physique. So really, really competitive, hyper competitive.
Hmm. Well, and you can see like maybe not in that photo as much, but some of these photos, like the guy's got great legs as well. I would always, again, coming back to my bias, I wonder how some of these guys would place in classic or place in open, in different federations or, even within the WNBF because gone are the days of the physique guys being small, right? Your top physique guys, their upper bodies are massive, even, natural or untested side.
Yeah. And you can see this is how big this class was.
Mhm.
You can see the number of competitors.
15,
That's
yeah,
one
15 on
class.
stage there. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
said there were three of those?
Three classes. Yeah.
Hmm.
Really big turnout. So winning was no small feat. But yeah, and also with you mentioned legs, the guys are wearing the tighter trunks, slightly shorter trunks nowadays. So I think it actually makes a little bit of a difference. And
Mhm.
um,
And as much as it theoretically isn't judged, it definitely is because I've had physique guys get critique of fill out the trunks more, build the calves more. And it's like, wait a
yeah.
second. I thought we weren't supposed to be looking at that, but if they are, you just got to go with the way that the judges are going. So I think it's just a more muscular look overall now that they're looking across the board.
Yeah, and they did seem to be favoring muscle. So a lot of these guys, a lot of the guys up there could have competed in bodybuilding. That's for sure.
Which I know some people would see as a critique, right? Like, oh, these some of these other divisions are taking away from, the original bodybuilding class, but it's not exactly the case, right? Because you can't say that that person ever has the aspiration to put on the bodybuilding trunks. So by including these divisions, you're probably gaining more people than you are losing from the bodybuilding, just in general, and the like inclusivity of the sport.
And then moving on to Bikini, another Australian cleaning up the end of the day.
Mhm.
Those last two categories. So they held it to the Australia held it together late because those classes went late.
Yeah.
I don't know when the bikini finished, but I think it wasn't close to like 8 p.m. or so. So
Okay. And this was even a 2 day event, right? So you
2 day
can't even
event.
say, thank goodness it was a 2 day event if they finished at 8.
So this is Sabrine winning that bikini title. Everyone with their flags, which is very cool. See that bikini. Top five there. So these girls were troopers holding it together till very late in the evening. So
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a class that we've talked about ad nauseum. It's so hard to judge. I still, I think we're pretty solid at a lot of the classes at picking, who wins and why they win and what the judges are seeing. But I still, to this day, bikini, maybe I might be able to place the top five in the top five, but even then, sometimes it's questionable. So. It's a tough class because there's so many small details in the way they move and the, presentation, in the accessories they choose, the suit selection. There's so many small things that, as a bodybuilder, you might pick a color for your trunks that you like, but I don't think it really weighs that heavily into your judging, where especially in bikini, every little aspect matters.
but yeah, you can see she brings a great look,
Mhm.
great muscularity through the legs, nice pop and delt still,
Yeah.
a small waist. Yeah.
Lean but not too lean, full,
Yeah.
but not too muscular. It's a very thin line that you have to kind of sit, and you have to almost like push the boundaries just a bit to really be at the top of the sport there.
Yeah, so brought a fantastic look and then enjoyed some burgers in the evening. So
There you go. It's the classic move. Can't go wrong with a
it's
post-show
probably like 10
burger.
or 11 p.m. So late night.
Yeah,
The tan girls and all the drunk people.
yeah, yeah. That's it. So, what do you think?
Anyways,
Thoughts of Worlds 2024? Obviously, a very competitive show. Very deep in the number of athletes, 60 plus countries. That's a crazy shot right there
it is.
with the professor. 60 plus countries represented. Um, I think a really, you were there, right? Any things that you saw that maybe room for improvement? Obviously, we talked about the live stream being a little bit touchy here and there. So I think that's if you're going to have an international event, you have to have a really solid live stream because there's people that just can't be there, right? Like they just financially can't. So you want people to be able to watch this, especially if we're trying to grow awareness of the sport. But anything like there at venue between the flow, the lights, I know you're always big on that. Like, what did you notice?
Yeah, I mean, well, let's touch on the positives because I think there were more
Hmm.
positives. I mean, there were a ton of international competitors, a lot of really quality athletes, which we covered. Really great camaraderie. I think in general, they gave them plenty of time on stage, and I thought the venue was good. Other than has had the Wi-Fi or non-existent coverage where I was trying to get you guys stuff and I couldn't send you stuff, but that's not really their fault. Um, but yeah, I mean, really spectacular. I think weekend overall. I think yeah, in terms of small things, I think some of the stage lighting was a little inconsistent here and there. I think there were definitely very good spots on stage. I think actually front stage where they were doing the pose downs, I think might have been the best spot. And there was a little bit of a discrepancy left to right. The lighting
Yeah.
on the left-hand side
I
of the
noticed
stage
that a little bit. Yeah.
was a little bit better than the lighting on the right. But then again, I should note the judges did a good job of actually moving people and not keeping them on the right side or on the outside or, when they were in poor lighting. I think they still gave them good opportunity to jump in. I think I'm trying to think. I think it was Leo Silva who was in, they did a big U
Mhm.
with all the athletes on stage, and they had him quarter turn there. But Leo was all the way on the end at the start of that because that's just where he started. Just where he happened to be at the very beginning, right? Not in good lighting, but he still managed to make first call out. So the judges clearly accounted for like, hey, this guy's just not in good lighting right now.
Mhm.
And granted, the symmetry, it's not as important to see that, but the judges, I think, were definitely on top of. Um, Keeping an eye on that. Like, okay, well, if the lighting is better, this area, this area, this area, we got to give athletes a fair shake. So I think from my perspective, I saw them doing a good job of that because I've seen shows and I've heard shows where somebody gets stuck in bad lighting from the very beginning and then they never get a look.
Mhm.
I've seen it. I've seen guys that are top athletes like, hey, he didn't place quite where I would want, and I talk to them. Yeah, I was on the outside and I never got a look because I was in bad lighting, but.
Yeah.
Thought they did a
And it
job of
seemingly made a good balance of keeping people on stage for a long time, right? Which everyone wants, but also not to the detriment of making the show run like through the entirety of the night. Like 8 p.m. for a bodybuilding show to end isn't the worst we've heard, right?
yeah,
Like
it was
a lot
supposed
of
to end at
shows like
5 or 6, so that was one of the
yeah,
things.
couple hours late, but that's almost unfortunately the standard. At least it was 8,
Yeah,
9, 10, 11, midnight, which other shows
but
have
they
done
did
for sure.
really long call outs for the bodybuilders and really long posing rounds for a lot of classes. So it's a catch 22. You give them a lot of time on stage, but then the show runs super late. And but
Mhm. Yeah. So there's
um,
definitely a middle ground to be had there, but I would always err on the side of giving the athletes their time, especially at the world stage.
yeah, yeah, for sure. But yeah, I mean, in person, I thought it was overall a very very well run event, great event, cool venue. Yeah, more of the issues were, like you said, on the live stream side that was spotty kind of throughout. So unfortunate that, the people that were viewing, I know people were frustrated about that, but is what it is. So but yeah, I mean, in general, I mean, I think I had a spectacular weekend myself. Not competing, but getting to rub shoulders and talk shop and just chill out with some awesome people. I think the natural bodybuilding community is pretty incredible, and to hang out with people that I either have never met before but talked with for years, either via DM, podcasts, etc. Or just commenting back and forth and a little bit of chit chat here and there, and to get to actually meet some people and actually spend some time with people was awesome. And then people I only get to see a few times a year, right? So that's really the main reason I went. I mean, I did some coverage there, which I mostly just took some videos of the. I did a couple interviews, but mostly took some videos of um, the posing rounds, and then I'd run off and post it outside, and then come back in. But yeah, I mean that's the main reason I went out is really to to be there to see it, but to kind of just be with a lot of friends and such who get it. So, we as natural bodybuilders get very limited opportunities to mingle amongst our people. I mean, at least for me, and I talked to a lot of people who've expressed similar sentiments. We're kind of isolated in our day-to-day lives and don't, get to spend a lot of time with tons of people. But um, it's, I think, really brings out the best in us to be in that environment. And, a lot of us introverts become extroverts, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it really is it's a global community and it's a really strong community. I think there's a lot of good that comes out of the collaborations and the groups that we've all formed in the circles. And
mhm.
yeah, it's good to see. And I'm sure it's like you felt just like when we were in Denmark meeting, AJ and things like that. It's good to the conversations online are one thing, but in person is completely different. You get a real
Yeah.
feel for the person and who they are. And yeah, I love
So,
it. So,
yeah, I certainly cherish my times that I do get. So, and I think I'm pretty present and yeah, I soak them in. So, and I
yeah.
know a lot of other people do too. So,
All
awesome.
right.
That's
Closing it out.
World's recap there. So, yeah, let us know what you thought. Did you stream there? Were you there? If you were there, hopefully you said hi to me. I know I met a lot of people and a lot of people came and said hi. So, thank you. And I love chatting and hanging out. So, let us know what you thought of the event. What was it what you expected? Did you see things differently? Did you agree with the placements? Did you not agree? What could be improved? All that fun stuff. Leave it in the comments below. And James, any closing thoughts before we close the shutter down?
No, for our American viewers, well, by the time this comes out, it'll be one day beyond Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving to you. Hopefully you enjoyed it with your family if you celebrate. And I don't know, buy a bunch of stuff on Black Friday, code Natty News Daily for 20%
Yeah,
off
core nutrition.
normally at Core, but I think actually everything's like 25% off for Black Friday anyway. And I don't think our code works,
I
but you
think
can
it
still
goes an
support
extra
us.
5% or so.
Okay. Extra 5% if you use
I
Natty News
think
Daily.
that's what they did last year. I don't think they've announced it, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we're at
Anyways,
one, but
good plug though.
yeah, you bet. All
Cool.
right.
Well, appreciate everyone for tuning in, and we'll be lookout. I'll be on the lookout. We got awards coming up here soon, so be on the lookout on Instagram. We're gonna be doing our year-end awards and presenting awards to the best athletes. So get ready to that and get your votes ready. And yeah, we'll close out 2024 strong. So thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next one.